Red Bull is preparing a change. Now, it could be a very major change dependent on Sergio Perez, who I think has the hardest job in Formula One, which is beating Max Verstappen. Sergio Perez has been kind of under fire, I would say, since he had the Red Bull seat. And a lot of people even debated on whether it was worth for him to actually have that seat. He had a crazy 2020 season and arguably one of the best drivers on the grid in 2020. He outperformed that Racing Point, had an insane win, and was almost thrown off the team in 2020. Thrown off the grid, not team. He was thrown off the team for the four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. Now, while it doesn't excuse Sebastian having a very bad season and Sergio having an amazing one, you know what Aston Martin was really planning there. They needed somebody to help out Lance, and Sergio just wasn't that guy. So, almost thrown out of the actual sport, and Red Bull picked him up. And what does he go and do? He joins Red Bull. He doesn't outperform Max by any means, but had a couple of insane performances like France and really Abu Dhabi that practically saved Max Verstappen his championship. And I don't think that those will ever be underlooked by Red Bull, and they will always appreciate what Perez has done. But Perez does have some fight, and he is very competitive, which is one of the things I love about him. I don't want him to be some guy that just slouches against Max, but it does put that real relationship under threat, and I'll tell you where Red Bull's real thinking is going at right now. Before I start that, thank you all so much for the support. You guys are amazing, and you guys make this such a fun time making these videos and really getting your guys' support. So if you're not subscribed, please do. Please like the video, whether you're subscribed or not. It would mean the world for me, and comment whenever you can. Hit that notification bell. Let's get into the Red Bull drama. Sergio Perez has started off the year with a P2, P1, and P5. I guess the P5 in Australia was pretty lucky, but P1 was good and P2 could have been better. Now, like I said, I think Sergio Perez has the hardest job in Formula One. It's very hard to even come close to what I think is right now currently the best driver in Formula One. Not because he has the best car, but because he is so damn consistent. Like, Verstappen makes zero mistakes. He's so flawless when he drives. He's always even saving pace by how fast and how ridiculous he is on the grid. And he also drives a very interesting car when it comes to the steering and the way that it performs. We actually just recently learned that Red Bull's car is literally made to be like braking on the edge. And on Twitter, there's a good analysis of how the Red Bull car practically performs. If you've ever taken your bike and you slam on the two brakes together and your bike just flicks forward, now that's how it is braking on that Red Bull, except they have some very innovative suspension to actually keep the car from doing that.
The issue, man. It was the same.
So you're practically driving at the very edge, something that Max really likes. And if you guys know Sergio Perez's career, he is pretty famously known for liking a more understeery car and a car that has a lot stronger of a rear end. Does that mean that the Red Bull has a weak rear end? By no means, but it definitely isn't preferable to a driver like Sergio. So let's cut him the slack there. But that isn't enough slack to cut for him being 4 or 5 tenths behind and not taking the fastest car on the grid by a mile from the pit lane to really a P2 or 3. I think that should have happened regardless of the track. I mean, sure, Monaco maybe, but it wasn't Monaco, it was Australia, where 4 DRS zones and the fastest car in a straight line by almost 20 kilometers. So he should have gotten a P2 or 3, honestly. Red Bull loves to put these kind of threats to really their second driver. I mean, if we've seen Pierre Gasley, Alex Albon, and really even Daniel Riccardo, they like to have pressure on that second driver. I wouldn't say that Daniel was a second driver, and I think, and I stand by this to today, nobody will ever come close to Max Verstappen unlike Daniel Ricciardo. Unless they bring somebody like Lando Norris. I think Lando could compete in Red Bull alongside Max. Daniel Ricciardo was beating Max before he left in 2018. In 2017, he did beat Max in a car that was probably just as good for the both of them. They both love a car that's very much on the edge and very front-ended. I mean, Daniel Ricciardo's whole career has been dive bombs and being outstanding in the braking zones. He was never an amazing qualifier, and I think that was something Max always had the edge on him. But when it came to race pace, Daniel was chef's kiss to watch. The dude was phenomenal and the only driver to really compete with the number 33. Max Verstappen has always been outstanding, and I think that it's very hard to find him a teammate that will do that. But they're already looking into other drivers, and even other team principals are talking about a step up quickly from the grid. Franz Tost just recently talked about Yuki Tsanoda going into the team in 2025, meaning giving him a contract for 2024, again in Alphatauris, and putting him in that Red Bull seat by 2025, which is the end of Sergio Perez's contract. I think they're already looking into a replacement for 2024. I think they're quick to go on somebody that wants to be very competitive with Max. And Red Bull is also a team that loves their storylines. How amazing of a storyline would it be if Daniel Riccardo came back inside in 2024 and took the fight with Max? A lot of people are talking about how even Sergio Perez's win in Jeddah was something like a Nico Rosberg and Hamilton comparison. I would never go that far to say that Sergio Perez is as close as Nico was to Lewis Hamilton. I mean, those guys were practically neck and neck, and Sergio Perez has never beat Max Verstappen on race pace merit, ever. It has only been with Verstappen having a problem or just genuinely something going completely wrong in the race. For example, Baku. Baku of 2021, when Sergio Perez got his first win with Red Bull, was completely because Max's tire blew up, not because Perez was actually really fast in the race. Singapore, they made a complete mistake and he didn't win off of just merit. Monaco, I guess you can argue, was kind of his best race, but a lot of controversy behind it. Jeddah was a good race for him this year, but guess what? Max started in P15. There's always an excuse, and I don't want to be that guy to be like, oh, Sergio Perez is just not good enough to beat him. I think he is. I just don't think he has the right car under him, and I think that really throws him off, especially against a guy that he's so consistent and so damn good, like Max. Is Yuki Tsanoda the solution? I'm not sure if Yuki is ready. I do think that Yuki has been amazing this season, and I love watching Yuki perform at this level. He's an outstanding driver and definitely deserves really the reputation he's getting right now. I mean, a lot of people have called him a diamond in the rough, and I believe it. I think that he is getting better, and as he gets more consistency, he will be that much better on the grid. And I do expect him to have an outstanding 2023 like it has been so far. Sergio Perez still has a lot to prove. There's still 20 more races in the season, but I do not believe he will be anywhere near Max Verstappen. I do think it might be a blowout for most of the year. I think the occasional win might come, but when I see a win on off of merit alone from Sergio Perez, then my hype for Perez will go a lot higher. But as of right now, I think he's got to perform, or at least be between 1 to 2 tenths to Max and really performing that second driver duty for Red Bull to keep him. Red Bull has always been that, I would say, the underdog team. When they were losing for almost 8 years in a row, something that I remember a story being told was from one of the race engineers really on that Red Bull team was they used to bring in like a boombox every single time they raced, and they were the loudest team on the grid. That was kind of like how that Red Bull team always was. They had that grit and determination, and that's how they came back on Mercedes. And now that they're ahead, everybody is hating on them, even though they're a team that deserves to be in the spot that they really are right now. They're a team that I think deserves it and has really fully cemented themselves into this P1 position just due to the fact that they are a team with such grit and just the will to win with its team principal and drivers. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this Sergio Perez situation and really the real drama going on between Max Verstappen and Sergio? Do you believe it to be real? Do you believe that his seat is compromised? Tell me your thoughts down below. I would love to hear it. Please leave a like, subscribe. It would mean the world, and peace.